The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Kinect. Nonprofit Kinect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Kinect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Greg Gorga, and Greg is the Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Oh gosh, you folks are always doing such interesting and fun things. I can hardly wait to hear what's in store today.
Oh, I can't wait to tell you all about it.
Oh good, oh good, oh good. So where shall we start?
So I guess our big thing is coming up soon in April. We're going to go all in on whales.
Whales.
We're going to have a whale of a time down at the Maritime Museum.
Sounds like a whale of a tale to me.
So we've been working with about 11 other museums in Santa Barbara County, a collaborative effort to do different things, programming or exhibits, whatever each museum wanted to do on climate change.
Oh,
and
I've
so
heard about that.
Yeah, and so we're going to, I'm sure some of your other guests are involved in this as well. We're going to do whales are superheroes, because whales, especially whale poop, feeds phytoplankton. Phytoplankton absorbs sunlight, and they make oxygen and then absorb CO2.
Who knew?
Who knew? They actually absorb more CO2 than trees. And we're going to be it's a very kid-friendly exhibit, and so that's going to be part of that collaborative. This is a permanent exhibit for us. So it's all talk about how whales help absorb CO2 and help fight climate change.
Gosh, that will be fascinating.
Yeah, it's very kid-friendly, so it's kind of got a comic book feel to the exhibit. But that's not the only thing we're doing. When we open up that, we also have two artists who do beautiful artwork of whales and dolphins and other marine life.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yep, and then that goes in our rotating exhibit. It'll take over our mermaid photography exhibit, which we've been running presently.
Yes.
And then we also went out to schools and had kids do artwork of whales. They either drew whales, or we also have a whole series of clay sculptures of whales, dolphins, whale tails, everything like that. And so that children's artwork will be up on the walls as well as part of the exhibit.
Nice.
And then we have we have that beautiful Munger Theater where we normally show 5 or 6 films a day. We are going to close that for this period, and we're going to create an interactive experience in there where you walk through, and other children have done other whale art. We'll blow up some of those arts into figures. We'll have music, probably whale sounds and whale images floating around and other artwork, and you'll walk through the theater and experience these creations of whales and dolphins and different marine life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a great educational experience for the kids as well, and probably adults too.
Absolutely. So hopefully everybody learns from it, but absolutely we're all about education at the Maritime Museum. And even when we went into the classrooms, and we'll continue to do that program, we did quite a few of them in December to get the artwork for this art exhibit that we'll put up on the wall, but we're continuing to go into the schools, have the kids work and create artwork, but they also learn about whales and why they're important to our ecosystem.
Gosh, that sounds like a fascinating project.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that whale poop is feeding that phytoplankton, and that's creating oxygen and helping fight climate change.
I bet the kids love to talk about that.
Whale poop is very popular with them, yes. And we work with Holly Loheis, who's been our education consultant for quite a bit of time. She's dove all over the world with Jean-Michel Cousteau.
Oh, golly.
She goes out on the island packer boats and interacts, is with the whales, a naturalist, marine biologist. So she's giving a lecture in April about the whales. So April is whale month for us at the Maritime Museum.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
And so, but you say, even though it's starting in April, it'll be a permanent.
So part of it, the whales are superheroes, that kind of children-friendly exhibit on the whale poop will be permanent, and then the artwork and the children's art will be up for 3 to 4 months. and then we rotate out to another exhibit. Yeah.
That's great. And I know that you collaborate with so many organizations, including all the schools.
Absolutely, yeah. We're in the schools all the time, either doing programming in the schools like that whale art program. We participate, like many of the museums in town, in the science nights when we can have them. They are starting back up.
Yeah.
You know, we won a national recognition by the American Alliance of Museums, AAM, for a program we developed right before COVID happened called Maritime on the Move. So you know we've been bringing kids in to spend the night on a tall ship based on Richard Henry Dana's 2 years before the mast. Countywide, a lot of local kids never even seen the water, been on our harbor, get to spend the night on the boat. But we're bringing schools down from Santa Maria, Guadalupe, Orcutt. Some of those parents, it's a 2-day trip. You got to come down one day, spend the night, back the next day.
Right.
They couldn't afford to be away from work for that long or from their families. So we developed a program to have them explore their own backyard. So we did Maritime on the Move, again working with naturalists, and we piloted that with 160 sixth graders in Carpinteria. Oh. They went out to see the seal rookery and counted seal pups.
Oh.
They went to where the natural tar seeps are coming out of the rocks on the beach. They went to the salt marsh. And they went and dug up, they didn't realize there's crabs in the sand as you walk on the beach. There's crabs underneath you, and they dug up sand crabs. And I was there, their school is 3 blocks from the salt marsh, and half those kids out of 160 had never even walked the salt marsh.
Oh my gosh.
So you can imagine kids growing up in Santa Maria, Orcutt, Guadalupe, never seen the ocean, never seen our harbor, never been on a boat. Really, with all the programs, we do a lot with Title I low-income schools. A lot of those kids have, even in Santa Barbara, some of them have not even seen the ocean, and they're right here in Santa Barbara. And definitely have not been on a boat, haven't gone out to the water and interacted with a whale or seen a dolphin in real life.
Yeah.
I've been out we do a marine science program too, where we get the kids to collect marine life, touch it, feel it, talk about it, put it back in the water safely. And so, even those kids, they're there, you show them something and they're like, oh, can we see a whale now? Like, they're so used to their computers, like, yeah, let me push the whale button and one will pop right up. So getting them out on the water, and our channel is like, we call it the Galapagos of the Pacific Northern Pacific. It's so special here. And that's why it's great to do this whale exhibit and I'm not the scientist, right? But there's over 100 different whale species. More than half of them come through our channel here.
Gosh.
Yeah, we get whales all the time. We've been having orcas, killer whales here. Right now, you always have the humpbacks. Soon the gray whales are starting to show up already as they migrate north. So it's just, the ocean is such an amazing thing, and especially right here in our channel, it's just an amazing, incredible abundance.
Yes. So let's say that a parent is watching this and they're saying, gosh, I want my kid to participate in this program or the tall ship or the whatever. What do they do? How do they contact you?
So most of the work we do with the schools, we deal directly with the schools because it's a classroom at a time. Once in a while, we'll have programs where we do with individual students and not through the schools. So last September, we piloted for us a program called Girls in Ocean Science. The object was to get high school age young ladies to start thinking about the marine sciences as a college career, as a college course program and a career afterwards. We are going to expand that to junior high school and college high school students this coming September.
That's great.
Yeah, so those families can contact us directly, our education department, or they talk to their teachers. We're always looking to go out and do these programs in schools, and we're adding schools all the time.
Wow. That would be great. So they can find all this information on your website.
Yeah, and our education director, Liz Perry, is on the website, and you could email her and ask that. And we are going to be doing more because one of our board members, Roger Chrisman, and his wife Sarah, did purchase a tall ship. So since we opened in 2000, we've been bringing the Spirit of Dana Point tall ship up from the Ocean Institute in Dana Point and doing an overnight program based on Richard Henry Dana's book. Now we have the option to utilize that vessel even more. It's not going to be in the Santa Barbara Harbor. It's down at Channel Islands Harbor. But we'll bring it up here for educational programming. That's their whole purpose of purchasing this tall ship is to make it available all along the Central Coast.
Yeah.
To get, they believe that no child should be left ashore.
Oh,
and so they're
good.
all about getting kids out onto the water, and that's what we'll be doing even more now that we will have access to that vessel soon.
That is great. And so that particular program goes through the schools, is that right?
Yeah, well, most of that program, again, we go through schools, but who knows, we might do like a 3-day trip out to the Channel Islands and then open it up to anybody who can sign up individually.
Great.
We don't know quite yet the programming for that, we'll be doing a lot with it. So you'll see it here in the harbor.
Oh, great. Did you say when you work with the schools, it's 6th grade or what?
So we work all ages. So we do school tours, of course, with all, from 1st grade on. The tall ship program that we have been doing, we might not do an overnight this coming year, but we generally work with 4th graders because they're studying California history.
Oh, okay.
And so it aligns with their curriculum, and that's what Dana, is part of that California history. The Maritime on the Move program, we piloted that with 6th graders. We can adapt that to other grades, 4th, 5th, 6th. Liz is better to talk to than I am about that. She'll know more. And then we are branching out into the older ages too, like the junior high school students and high school students. So we're really trying to expand the education programming as well.
That's wonderful. And so I think you use volunteers. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are very dependent. We have a small staff, an incredible staff, education, exhibit staff. Everybody who makes the museum run is just incredible. But we could not survive without our volunteers. You know that we have the 4th floor visitor center, which is actually part of the National Park Service, Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuaries. Our volunteers staff that. It is the best view in Santa Barbara. Sorry, Courthouse Tower, beautiful. But,
You're
the 4th
right.
floor is gorgeous, and so I wish I could work up there and have that office, but our volunteers get to do that. We're in the middle of docent training program, so we have started that already, but we do that at least once a year. And so our docents, we call them docents on deck, and wander the floor of the museum and interact with our visitors and try to expand on what our exhibits are telling the visitors. And then we have our 105-year, I think, old sport fishing boat, the Ranger, that is all volunteer crewed. And they're doing a lot of varnishing, but they get to go out on it once in a while as well. And we use volunteers for school tours, all the education programs, going out to science nights. We are always in need of volunteers.
Okay, so let's just say somebody's watching this and they say, oh my gosh, I'd love to be a volunteer, but I don't think I know enough. What I hear you saying is that you train them.
Absolutely. We give you all the information. The docent training program is 10 weeks long. It's an hour plus a half hour on the floor. But even ongoing, we just had one a couple of days ago. Every month we have a volunteer training as well. So we had the harbor master coming in and talk about the Santa Barbara Harbor. And then we have a volunteer handbook. So you will learn more about your city, this harbor, and our channel being a volunteer at the Maritime Museum than 99% of the community.
Gosh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, and you get to meet people from all over the world, pre-COVID and hopefully soon. We were getting visitors from England, France, Germany, everywhere. So as a volunteer, you get to meet a lot of people too, which is really fun. And you get to come to all of our events.
There you go.
Yeah.
So a person can go on your website, once again, and they can find out how to be a volunteer, what kind of people you're looking for, who should they contact. They can find all that.
There's a form, you sign up and just send it right to our volunteer person.
Oh, that's good. That sounds easy.
Yeah.
And so I bet on your website you also have a Donate Now button so people can make a financial donation.
Absolutely. It might be in the same section, Support the Museum. So we could not do all the education programs we do, the wonderful exhibits like the whale exhibits I told you about, and just be open 6 days a week. We are closed Wednesdays. All that takes money.
Yes.
We are a private nonprofit. We are not government supported. In fact, we pay rent to the city. We support the city. And so we are always in need of donations. So you can do that on our website. You could just become a member, which is free admission to the museum for a year. That helps support all of our education programs. But we also have kind of a higher level donor called Navigator Circle. Or you can remember the museum in your planned giving, so our flagship society. All that's on the website, sbmm.org. And we try to really give back to our donors. So we try to do a lot of different things. You know, we have that beautiful patio overlooking the harbor. So in the summer we were doing happy hours. We're now calling them curated cocktails. So we have a little educational component while we enjoy food and cocktails for our Navigator Circle members, Flagship Society members, and even our regular members can pay to be a part of that. The food is wonderful, the drinks are wonderful, and we make an educational component out of it. So we had Rennie Yater, famous surfboard shaper, talk about surfing. We had one of our volunteers who built a replica model, a working model of the Ranger, and talked about the Ranger and why that's such an important little sport fishing yacht. I know we're going to have a cannonball from Bouchard and talk about how a pirate attacked Santa Barbara in the 1810s. So it's a way to enjoy. We give back to our donors, and you also still learn a little bit more about our local maritime history.
Gosh, and you are quite the history buff. I've seen some of those films and heard you talk about this at some of these events.
You know, we were talking earlier, I've been at the museum 15 years. And when I started at the Maritime Museum, I knew absolutely nothing about our local history.
That is so hard for me to believe.
But, you know, I did tours with our docents. I read the exhibits. I come to all the lectures. And I get to meet, you know, the Rennie Yaters, the Lad Handelmans when he was alive, commercial diver, Bob Kirby, who is still with us, fortunately. So, you know, everything I've learned at the Maritime Museum. And it's been a pleasure because our history is so amazing here. For a little town, and what I love about the Maritime Museum, you know, a lot of maritime museums are just some boats and some paintings. Yeah. We have everything from shipwrecks to naval disasters like the 7 ships that's crashed in 5 minutes in 1923, surfing obviously. We do have artwork, but we also have boat models. The Chumash and that history and how they are our first mariners and used the natural resources to make a tamal. You know, the history here is just so varied and it's really wonderful.
You know, when I go there to the Maritime Museum, I'm always, you know, impressed with all the different exhibits, and it feels to me like this is really a remarkable, shining example of Maritime Museum. I doubt that most communities have this kind of a museum.
Well, we were voted one of the top 10 maritime museums in the country.
Is that right?
Okay. And you know, we were AAM accredited recently. That was a 4 or 5 year process. So AAM is kind of the governing body for museums all across the United States. Out of 33,000 museums in the United States, less than 1,100 are accredited. And so that's a big deal. It's a 10-year, shows you're using best practices. And we have some good friends here in Santa Barbara who are also AM accredited, like I know the Natural History Museum is, the Botanic Gardens, the museum out at UCSB. So it was a big deal for us to get that recognition. They did say they are very impressed with our education programming and our Navigator Circle program. So, and then, you know, we've just got recognized by the Council of the California Association of Museums, again for that education program, Maritime on the Move, for us teaching sustainability. And so, yeah, you know, it's a small museum. We have about 8,000 square feet of exhibit space, so maybe average size museum. But, you know, we carry our weight, I think.
Well, you can be proud of that. I mean, you have transformed that museum.
Well, you know, we have a great board of directors. We couldn't do it without their support. And again, the staff had just been amazing. You know, I am very fortunate. They do things that I don't even know. You know, during COVID, they were putting stuff on the website, and you can go on our website and see all of our past lectures, which TV Santa Barbara records. Thanks to them. Big thank you to them. You know, we do a curator's log, so deeper dive into, and we do a deeper dive video series. There's all the like science night activities that the kids, you know, when we had to go all virtual, all that's on our website, and the staff were putting these things up, and I'm like, really, that's up there? So yeah, it's just everything that we've accomplished. I've been lucky to be a part of it, but we really couldn't do it without the volunteers, the board, and the staff.
So we have about a minute left. Greg, do you have, what else would you like for our viewers to know?
Well, again, come to the museum, experience it. I don't think you know how important how varied our maritime history is until you get into our doors. and hopefully you'll support us by being a member or a Navigator Circle member, which is $1,000 or more a year annual giving. And the other fun things is we do fun things we get out of the museum. So we've taken members to Honda Point, where the 7 Navy destroyers crashed. We've gone cage diving with great white sharks.
Oh,
I'm about to go to San Ignacio Lagoon and interact with gray whales. We are going to do a trip to Catalina Island in 2023. We're always looking to get outside the museum and do some fun things with our members and supporters. So
gosh,
it's not just inside the 4 walls.
We are so lucky to have the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum right here.
And I'm lucky to be here with you today. Thank you very much.
And we're lucky to have you. Thanks so much for being on the show and for all the important work that you do.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.